On?
Young guys retiring.
Yeah, young guys retiring. So with Kuechly, hell of a linebacker. I'm pretty sure he would have got way more publicity had he been in a bigger market.
Yep, definitely.
He is somewhat underrated in terms of media attention. He sure as hell didn't get as much as he should have, but he's the new wave linebacker nowadays, that sideline to sidelines, not the big burly guys, fundamentally sound in every way, shape, and form, intelligent to no end, right? So
Yep.
he's retired now at 28. Andrew Luck retired at 30 last year. Basically, they've got 5 to 7 more, well, quarterback probably maybe more than 5. Yeah. But, I mean, Kuechly could have probably played till he was 34, 35 at
So do you
at a
think
pretty
these
high
guys
level.
are making those decisions on their own? Because, like, I think back when I was 28, like, hell no, like, I'm not going to retire.
The medical science is telling them that you've made enough money.
Exactly.
If you want to enjoy the rest of your life.
But do you think somebody else is telling them that, or do you think they've made that decision on their own?
I think somebody's obviously they've had discussions, but I don't think you make that decision unless it's your own.
Well, and knowledge is power. They have access to a lot.
Yeah, they know more than they did back then.
information as to
For sure.
the fallout of repeated blows to the head, or how many times can I get this shoulder built?
It's your health.
Yeah.
It's your health.
Do I want to walk in my 60s?
Yes.
But like Patrick Willis retired early by a lot of standards. He was a stud, 30 years old. He packed it in,
And then the next year they lost Chris
Borland. Yeah,
right
he was
after.
24. He played 1 year.
No, it's becoming more and more common.
So I think personally, I don't blame these guys at all. I mean, to each their own. There's a lot of money on the table. That's a hard thing to walk away from. But if your heart isn't in it and you're really
But it's
worried
not
about
like
your
they're
health,
not making good money.
Yeah.
But there's been, and that's exactly right. So
It's
you get to that second
it's do you
contract,
want to be a
cash in.
baller or a real baller?
Yeah.
None of those guys are walking away short of cash.
No, exactly. So you used to play a little more.
Gronk left. Well, how old was Gronk? 29?
Really? That young?
He's 30.
Yeah. So.
But you look at his injury history.
But same thing. He probably could have played.
crazy.
Well, Antonio Gates just retired, and he's what, 57? I seriously
Three
thought
more
I
years,
thought
he'd
he
have double
I thought he
dipped. He'd had a
retired 2 or
pension
3
check.
years ago. I did. I thought he retired 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, he was retired. I believe they brought him back. He wasn't officially retired, but they did bring him back.
Off the couch.
So
Off the couch.
it depends. It depends.
But
I guess what kind of career you've had, how many shots you've taken, what's your injury history.
and some of that is the position too. You don't see some of these guys coming and retiring as corners or wideouts. They don't take maybe sometimes quite as many blows or even as severe blows
For sure.
as a middle linebacker
Absolutely.
like
Absolutely.
Kuechly or Andrew
Absolutely.
Luck as a quarterback.
or any of the line.
Even as well protected as quarterbacks are, it can go horribly wrong.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So my next question would be, Antonio Gates, and we'll get to him just here in a little second, but a guy like Kuechly has insane numbers for the 8 years that he was a pro. Andrew Luck has some pretty deadly numbers in terms of per game averages and things of that nature. Are they Hall of Famers though?
No.
So if
Kuechly, I would consider.
you would?
Just
Luck,
like a
I
Barry
would not.
Sanders, just
Yes.
like a Barry Sanders. But Luck, no, he had more years in him.
Well, and playoff games and stuff
Yeah.
is more of a measurement for
a quarterback.
right?
Absolutely.
So if it becomes a bit of an epidemic in 10, 15 years from now,
yes, the
you're
Hall
gonna
will have to.
The Hall's going to get
They'll
some
have to
guys
change
in.
their criteria,
Or they're going to get some guys in
or maybe
that have been waiting a while.
maybe Jerry Kramer can get in,
Maybe not.
or did he already finally get in? I can't remember. Didn't he maybe get in the last couple of years?
Well, but more the point is you're going to start kind of having guys that are going to end up being first ballot that would never have been first ballot. You're going to have guys getting in that have been denied a long time or would have traditionally waited a long time because they weren't quite there.
Possibly.
So having a long career is definitely a huge asset in terms of getting into a Hall of Fame.
Is it?
It helps.
Is
can
Kevin
be.
Glenn going in the Hall of Fame?
It helps. Kevin Glenn?
I think he would end up in the Canadian
As a team builder, yeah.
As a team builder.
Really
But
should,
part of the
like,
criteria, and you see this a little bit, not to change sports too much, but like Eric Lindros went in, but he was the de facto best player on the planet for 3 years, basically.
So then the criteria
Neither
would
of
then
these
have to
guys
be
have
as
been the
well you were playing, you were a dominant force.
Right.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a huge
So I
part
mean,
of it.
Kuechly, you could
Barry
argue
Sanders.
he was the definitive number one linebacker in the NFL for 2, 3, 4 years.
Yep.
Okay, you could.
Yep. But Andrew
justify-
Luck was not the best quarterback in the league.
No, he wasn't
and-
even top 5. Unfortunately, the era he's in, and some of the guys that were around for the bulk of his career, he wasn't. He wasn't in the conversation for
I
top
remember
5.
when Andrew Luck retired, like he made a bad choice of retiring so publicly. Didn't he do it like in the stadium, and then they're taking their jerseys off? And
Well, yeah, there was a lot of backlash because it was
kind of
it was a very
embarrassment.
blindsided.
Yeah.
Wasn't
to
it
the fan
right
base, it
before
blindsided him, but
just shortly before the season, wasn't it?
it wasn't too far in front of the
Because
season.
then they had
no.
to
It was
kind
just
of
a
go with
bad PR move.
Brissett
Yeah, it
and
was just a
Right.
bad PR move.
But at the same time, he was your franchise quarterback. For you for quite a while.
Yeah.
I don't know that you make him hurry to make the decision. If that's when he became
No,
comfortable
for
with
sure.
it finally, then so be it, right? So, I mean, that team needs maybe a little more than a quarterback,
How many
but
years was Rodgers behind Favre?